Hello and welcome to the Body Resilient Mum podcast. I'm your host, Louise Hurley, and I am here to elevate your body image one conversation at a time. Most of us have grown up believing that a thinner, smoother, tighter body and face is better. And if we have these things, then we have succeeded and will live happily ever after. When we've been surrounded by this message all of our lives in some form or other, we tend not to question it. It's just the way of the world. But have you ever stopped to wonder whether these standards that we've been holding ourselves to are even possible to achieve? And if we do try to match these standards, like losing weight or trying to remain wrinkle and dimple free, is it actually healthy? As mums, we feel under so much pressure to succeed in all areas of life, including trying not to look like we've grown and birthed a tiny human. This podcast will encourage you to challenge your long-term beliefs about what your body should look like and help you to move from a place of conflict with your body to a place of peace and acceptance. Welcome to the Body Resilient Mum project. Welcome back to the podcast. It has been a while, so I'm super excited to have the first guest of this year. You are my first guest, Rhiannon. First guest of the year, Rhiannon Walton from Conveniently Active. Rhiannon is mum of two and the most wonderful exercise physiologist. I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit more because her story is wonderful, but just if you could introduce yourself, Rhiannon, and just tell us a little bit about, who you are, how you've come to be where you are now, and also what you do, because I think there's probably a few people out there who are maybe not sure what an exercise physiologist does as well.
Sure. No, thanks, Lou. Yes, I would be happy to do that. So, yes, my name is Rhiannon Walton. I am a mum of two. I've got a 3.5-year-old little girl and a 1-year-old boy. I am an exercise physiologist and I specialise in providing exercise to people who have chronic health conditions or people who live with some barriers that might prevent them from being as active or as mobile as they would like. So I really am passionate about providing exercise as therapy and as a way to help with our physical and or mental health. And some people live with significant barriers, whether that's injury, pain, mental health barriers, mobility restrictions, high force risks, whatever you name it. Some of these barriers can be really limiting, and we think, oh, we can't do that exercise, or we can't do that physical activity, whether it's walking around the shops or looking after the kids or whatever. And my job is to help improve physical and mental health outcomes with individualized exercise programs. So that is my job as an exercise physiologist.
Love that. That just rolled off the tongue then. Love that.
Yeah. I really got drawn to this. I remember when I was picking what I wanted to study at uni, it was between physiotherapy, exercise physiology, and speech pathology.
Oh,
And
wow.
I chose exercise physiology because I love exercise, and and exercise physiology is purely exercise prescription and education. That we don't do any hands-on therapy or diagnosing. It's more for those chronic health conditions. And I was just super passionate about it, especially given my history. I have had recurrent patella dislocation since I was 9 years old, which would lead me to have, crutches a lot. Most years I'd be on crutches at one point, and being very active throughout my life. I was doing a lot of rehab and I continued to push through somewhat. And then I reached my early 20s and I couldn't really keep pushing through the way I wanted to. And I had to adapt and modify. And that's probably the first step of me becoming an exercise physiologist.
Yeah.
And then more recently, I have, having kids and having complications after my pregnancies with abdominal separation, and recently having a surgery around that and a history of eating disorders. Oh my gosh, my life. It's all, I look at it as, which is quite funny, but I look at it as like professional development.
Absolutely. It's real life though, isn't it? It's and
Yeah.
these are the things that make you the wonderful professional you are. And obviously everyone's got their own story and their own background. And I'm not saying you need to be a mum and you need to have a mental health
Yeah.
challenges or eating disorders or anything. You don't need to have those, but
No.
this is all the colourful tapestry of life, and it's all part of who you are. And I can imagine that you have such a good understanding and such empathy with the people that you work with as well.
Well, that's right. And it's just a big reason as to why I got into this profession, just to try and help others navigate some challenges that I have also gone through in a
Mm,
professional way, of course. So
yeah,
I am excited to chat about a few of these things today.
absolutely. So you touched upon then, Rhiannon, about your abdominal separation, because one of the things,
Mm.
the main reasons why I wanted to talk to you was because of your abdominoplasty.
Yeah.
Is that the right term for the
Yes.
surgery that you had?
Yes.
So,
Abdominoplasty. Yeah.
yeah. So you had that after having two children. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Could you kind of give us a bit more insight into why it was needed, and two, kind of what it is, and you can go into as much detail about the connective tissue and how it all works, because that is fascinating in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll start with the reason why I got it and just a little bit of the science behind it. So abdominal separation isn't just a women's health condition. Kids can have it, men can get it, but it's very common amongst pregnant women because what happens is when we grow up a baby in our belly, our abdominal wall stretches
Mhm.
essentially. So it's actually quite normal to have abdominal separation. You can't
Mm.
really avoid it because
Yeah,
of that stretching.
absolutely.
It's
Mhm.
going to happen and that's normal. For some people, there are complications associated, and it can be ongoing. And I was one of those. And I'm not the only one. There are so many women who have complications after. So what happens is, if you think about our six-pack muscles, down the center, there's a line of connective tissue called the linea alba, and it's thin with abdominal separation. It stretches and thins like blue tack that's stretched.
Mm.
Yeah, and that can have complications if that integrity of the connective tissue or the strength of that connective tissue isn't as strong as it could be. So this could look like a core weakness, it could look like back pain, it could look like pelvic floor dysfunction or complications, it could look like digestive issues, and there can be aesthetic complications as well. And
Yeah.
this is something that a lot of women, including myself, felt a bit of shame for a little bit because I was thinking, oh gosh, am I really going down this avenue? As because the aesthetics is one component of the reason, a big component as to why I was getting
Mhm.
this surgery. And I'll go into detail about that in a moment. But what happens is when you have a significant separation, the one of the many roles of our core, our rectus abdominis muscles, is to contain what's beneath. So
Mm.
if you have a void or a separation, it's not doing that. So the abdominal contents protrude forward. It's
Mm.
essentially like a massive hernia. So you
Yeah.
could see my food digesting because you could see the
Mhm.
contents of going through my
Yeah.
bowel, and it looked like a protrusion for I'm naturally quite a lean person, and this can happen
Mhm.
to obviously people of all sizes.
Yeah.
But mine was very, very obvious
Mhm.
because of my body composition, and I was incredibly self conscious. So the main reasons I decided to get this surgery was one, I had as that protrusion, which I was very self conscious about.
Mhm.
Two, I got back pain. Three, I had quite significant digestive complications
Mm.
too,
I
just
was
because
gonna
things
ask
went.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, things, and that's something that's not really talked about a lot.
Mm.
And many professionals think it doesn't impact when I
Mm.
can tell you it does, because things
Yeah.
aren't sitting the way they normally should sit.
Yeah.
So I'd get lots of abdominal pain. I'd get especially a lot of bloating and abdominal pain after having big meals that
Mhm.
weren't easily digested.
Yeah.
Really painful.
Mhm. And did you feel
And
that, sorry, Rhiannon, is that because it hasn't got the external support of rectus abdominis and the connective tissue?
yeah, yeah.
I can imagine that would be really uncomfortable, really painful.
Yeah, uncomfortable. Yeah. So all of these things were a factor. And
Mm.
even though the pain and discomfort was a big factor, the biggest factor for me was the aesthetic component.
Mm.
And I think that's because of my previous history of having eating disorder. I'm fine now, but I had a long history of eating disorder throughout my teenage years,
Mhm.
probably about 10 years or so. And whilst I'm healthy mind, healthy body at the moment, I still do have those insecurities like most a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And it really started to impact my mental health
Mm,
having this
yeah.
protrusion. So that was a big reason why I got the surgery. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to say as well that not everyone with abdominal separation requires surgery, and
Mhm.
in most cases they probably don't. My separation was huge. It was 10 centimeters, over 10 centimeters wide,
Mm.
and I have a
Yeah.
potential connective tissue disorder. I've got dislocating knees and hypermobile joints, and
Yeah. And I'm
yeah,
guessing transfers, that's a tissue kind of integrity
yeah,
that
yeah,
transferred to linear alba. That could
yeah.
sorry.
It's yeah, so and again, you don't need to have connective tissue disorder to have this, but what I'm trying to say is I don't want people to listen to this and go, "Oh, I need a surgery because I've got abdominal separation," because there are so many steps I did first, and that's what I would encourage people to do
Mm.
before jumping into it. It's a huge surgery. It's a really big surgery. And
Yeah.
I'll go into detail about that as well. But you need to really dedicate. I 3 years before I decided to get this surgery, and I
Mm.
did a lot of physio, a lot of my exercise. I saw I saw three surgeons for opinions first. I did
Mm.
a lot of rehabilitation, and the
Yeah.
reason I decided to go ahead with this was because things just weren't improving, and they weren't going to improve.
Mm.
It was at a point where I would have to live with this, and for me, it was like now or down the track, and I'm young and like I'm easier to do it now rather
Mm.
than later. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about the rehab side of things, Rhiannon, what, because that is your profession, you're an
yeah,
expert in that. What kind of things did you do? And
yeah,
at what point did you know I've got as far as I can with
yeah,
strength and,
yeah.
conditioning rehab?
Really good question. So I'm pretty good with the exercise rehabilitation, but even so, I did engage with a women's health physiotherapist
Hmm.
because one, I think it's really important not to treat yourself. I think it's really good to
Yeah.
have another set of eyes on you, and to be the patient. So
Yeah.
I did reach out to a women's health physiotherapist, and I still do.
Hmm.
Um, and then I did my own exercise modifications in addition
Yeah.
to
I
that.
love it.
So
Yeah.
in terms of my exercise programming, there's exercise for general fitness and well-being, and just making sure that I had good intra-abdominal pressure throughout my exercises, and
Mm.
I was actually pretty strong, like able to
Yeah.
lift heavy, but with good technique, and
Mm.
as well as specific core exercises. So
Yeah.
building up good core strength, like really focusing on getting at the strongest core that I possibly could. And I do believe that really has helped my post-operative outcomes as well.
Yeah, okay. So that was pre-op, doing
Yeah.
that, trying to get as strong as possible. Were you trying to get as strong as possible to try to fix the abdominal separation? Well, I don't like the word fix, to
No, I know
make
what you
it better,
mean.
to improve it? Or were you like already at the point where you're like, I want to
Good
recover?
question.
Yeah,
Good question.
yeah, surgery or something.
For the first year and a bit, it was to try and, I guess,
Mm,
fix. I was never believing it would get completely together. I never thought
yeah.
that. But I was trying to recover and rehabilitate postpartum,
Mm,
um, as much as I could to avoid surgery. And then probably after like the 2 year ish mark, I was like, no, this isn't getting anywhere.
yeah.
And it turned out to be, because I know as an exercise physiologist, we see clients all the time. The people who do prehabilitation, so that work leading up to surgery, have much better
Yeah.
outcomes after. So I'm just going to get as strong as possible in the lead up to this surgery.
Mm,
And that was my goal. So yeah,
yeah.
just
That's
strengthening in the
awesome.
lead up to it.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because obviously you had all that knowledge about kind of what to expect, and you knew the point that you got to and you're like, this isn't working anymore. And
Mm,
I wonder how many women who are in or have been in your situation with that severe abdominal separation, maybe exercise isn't working. Is there any advice that you'd give them? Like, at what point would
mm,
you recommend that women go and look down the avenue of surgery? Because
yeah,
you're so right. A lot of women are very much like, no, we're not doing surgery. It's a very last resort. And I wonder,
yeah,
like, when do you get to that last resort? When are you at the point when you're
yeah.
like, this is where I'm going now?
Yeah, really, really good question. And I think it's about connecting with the right professionals. And if you're not happy with what you're hearing, go and get
Mm,
another opinion.
yeah.
So I was really lucky. I had a really good obstetrician, and she
Mhm.
said, I think you need to go because it was quite obvious. And she's like quite a large separation. She's like, I think you need to go. And this is very early. This is like within 6 months of after
Yeah.
having a baby. She's like, I think you need to go and see a
Mhm.
plastic surgeon. And I did.
Yeah.
And he just said, and he confirmed, like, it's too early.
Mhm.
Um, so you need to give, he was really great. You need to give this a chance. Like, do your rehab exercises,
Mhm.
do the physio exercises, really try and, and he was good. Like, he was a great
Mhm.
surgeon for saying that. So, but it was good to get an opinion from a
Yeah.
plastic surgeon because they're the ones who do it, plastic surgeons.
Mhm.
Um, and then I also engaged in, talking to a women's health physiotherapist, and I knew in myself as well, and just got advice from them. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. I got scans done as well, so they, ultrasound, CT, all of that. And then a physio or exercise physio and or exercise
Yeah.
physiologist
Mhm.
who's experienced in this field. It is quite a niche area, so
Oh.
experienced in this field who are
Mm.
confident in, about separation, so they can give you the recommendations and can confidently say you've been at this for 2 years, nearly 3 years. Like it's time. Like if you want to, and I can certainly go through some reasons why women can't or
Yeah.
unable to get
Yeah.
surgery as well.
Love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hugely expensive. So the first consult
Mhm.
that I had with and this is like women's health, right? We're still getting there. So the first consult I had with my plastic surgeon, there was absolutely no Medicare or private health rebate available. There was absolutely nothing. The out-of-pocket costs for that particular surgeon was $17,000. Now, this is
Oh.
a surgeon who couldn't see me because of my connective tissue. So I went to another surgeon. The out of pocket cost at that point would have been over $30,000. So, private
Wow.
health and Medicare, there was a huge petition.
Mhm.
And the reason why it wasn't covered was because it was considered cosmetic, even though it's medically necessary for many people.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow.
Um, so the abdominoplasty has two sides. It has the abdominal separation repair, so a
Mhm.
muscle repair, which is bringing the two sides together, sewing them
Mhm.
together essentially, and then also excess skin removal.
Yeah.
So if people have lost a huge amount of weight and
Mhm.
it's actually quite a medically necessary procedure
Yeah.
because infections can occur, all of
Mhm.
those kind of things, skin infection. So there's two parts, that component, and so removal of excess skin,
Mhm.
and the repair. So
Mm.
it's considered cosmetic, so there was no rebate. Anyway, that has changed, and now there's a rebate. But I think in total, my rebate was about $2,000. So even with private health insurance, I was about 30 grand out of pocket,
Oh my
which
goodness.
is extremely expensive. And I'm really I had to dip into my super. You can, if it's medically necessary, um, you can do that. You need to have a separation of over 3 centimeters, and I think there's another criteria as well, but I don't remember what that is. But it's quite strict in order to get that minimal rebate.
Mm. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yes, the cost is an absolute huge barrier
Cost
there.
is a huge barrier, so many people can't
Yes.
get that surgery. You can dip into your super. Not everyone wants to do that,
Yeah, of
um,
course.
but you can,
Yeah.
as an option. And then, of course, barriers like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't pick up my kids for 6 weeks. They're 1 and 3, you
Yeah.
know,
How is that
there's
going to
many
work?
barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
And your
hard.
job, quite a physical job as well, I imagine
Very
sometimes.
physical job.
Always on your feet.
Yeah, very physical
Mm.
job, always on my feet. Um, yeah, there was a lot of things going, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to make this work? Like financially, and then,
Mm.
with the kids and being really busy with work. Like it's just
Mm.
hectic. So I'm like, God, do I want to dip into my super? Do I wait and save? It was just a whole big decision that I had to make.
And also surgery, I mean, it's quite scary. We might go through childbirth, whether it's vaginal or cesarean, but an elective surgery, that's quite scary as well.
So
That's
scary. I get petrified.
yeah. especially when you're generally fit and healthy and you probably don't need many medical interventions. You probably don't go and see your GP very often.
Mm.
And then all of that. And it sounds like you've seen so many professionals about it as well.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. It was a weird feeling. It was a mixture of, anxiety and excitement
mm,
because I was like, yes, I can't wait to get this done and over with. And then the closer it got, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just changing into a bit more stress and
yeah,
anxiety and trying to,
yeah.
organize life. And then the actual procedure itself, because it's quite a large procedure. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Mhm,
I'm just thinking about pain and
mm.
all of those kind of things. But I got through it, and I'm very glad I did it. I'm very happy that I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a
It
big one.
sounds it absolutely sounds like it was the right decision for you. And
It was.
I love hearing about your thought process and how you came to it. But I mean, what a long period that took as well. Like that's a long period of time to go from,
Mm,
starting some rehab to try and fix, or to I keep saying fix, to try and improve that abdominal separation to the
yeah.
point of getting your surgery, like such a long period of time. And I can
Mm.
imagine how much headspace that would have taken up over that period of time as well.
100%. And you've definitely hit the nail on the head there. It took up a lot of headspace and required a lot
Mhm.
of positive self talk. It's going to be okay. It's going to be
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And thank
Yeah.
goodness you had the right professionals in your corner as well.
Yeah. I'm really lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, right. When we were talking, I don't know if we've touched upon it already in this conversation, but through our messages backwards and forwards, that obviously isn't part of this podcast, you mentioned, Rhiannon, that the stigma around what is essentially a tummy tuck was kind of in your
Yeah.
mind as well. Is
Yeah.
that the same, like the nickname for it, a tummy tuck, is
Yeah.
what
It
you
is. It's called a tummy tuck.
I
And I think, I don't
feel
know.
like that should
I
change.
can't, pardon?
I feel like that should change.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for other women or other people. For myself, I felt like it was a little bit of a stigma around it.
Mhm.
I personally call it abdominoplasty.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I did feel a bit of shame, a bit of stigma about having something that is quite affiliated as being cosmetic.
Mm.
And as I said before, I've definitely shifted that mindset quite a lot and given myself a bit of grace, and it means that who cares if it's a bit cosmetic, you know what I mean? Like, we have gone through so much as women to carry our babies and deliver our babies, and it puts a huge toll on our bodies.
Yeah.
And our bodies are beautiful regardless, and regardless of having this or not. It's just
Mhm.
something I decided to do. And I think if women want to do this,
Mhm.
great. If they don't want to do it, that's also great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a stigma. I don't love the name tummy tuck, but also it is commonly known as that. And I think if that's the way it is, it's the way it is. We just should shift that stigma
Mhm.
and go, welcome, if that's what people want to do. If that does that
Yeah.
make
Oh
sense?
God, yes. Yeah, basically it's like just let people do what they want to do. And
Yeah.
I love that you just said then, like you are so respectful of what your body has done, which I think is so important to remember. I ran a masterclass yesterday for a bunch of other trainers, and I was talking about body image, and we were talking about having that respect and that appreciation for your body at every stage of your,
Mhm.
we call it health and fitness journey, but if you have a goal that you want to get to, you're starting from here, you get to there, so we'll call it a journey. But rather than thinking of yourself as a before and an after, like your body is not as good before surgery or exercise or whatever it is, and it is better after,
Yeah.
you get rid of that before and after mindset and go, I appreciate my body for what it can do and what it has done for me at every stage. And
Love
that
that.
kind of takes out that before and after mindset and, better or
100%.
less better and better, or worse and better. Yeah, it just kind of takes that out of it. And that's the attitude that you've got, which I think is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a good mindset. I love that you promote that to other people and other
Mhm.
professionals. That's really important.
Try to. um, Thank you so much for just being so honest about what you've been through and everything today, Rhiannon. I think it's just such an important topic to talk about, especially as a professional who your main aim is to improve people's quality of life through
Yeah,
exercise, and
yeah,
something like this doesn't often come up. You know, we talk about aesthetics, but we went so much more deeper than just aesthetics of
Yeah, so huge
posture.
functional issues. It's
Yeah,
huge functional issues can arise for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So thank you. If people either have questions for you, want to come and work with you, where can they find you? Have you got social media or email or
Yeah,
website?
yeah. Look, there's a range of options. You can email us, you can call us. Is there an option to put this in notes or something, or I can say it now? Yes, we can give our email. You can reach out on social media. So the name is Conveniently Active, and I'm also um, creating programs for women and people because, as I said before, it's not just women who are either have abdominal separation, whether that's with or without surgery. So
Mm,
if people don't know if they have abdominal separation or if they do have separation and are thinking, how can I help strengthen my body? I'm here to help you, whether that means with or without surgery. I'm creating some programs to help there. So if people are looking for help, I'm here to help. But yeah, you can reach out on social media. You can reach out via email or phone.
amazing. Thank you so, so much for everything today. And yeah, I can't wait to see what these resources look like in this program in the end.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Okay, bye.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard, make sure you hit follow wherever you listen to your podcasts, rate and review so that more mums can start to challenge societal norms when it comes to what their body should look like. For further information on what I've covered in this episode or to connect with me in person, head to the link in the show notes. You'll also find the link to enrol in my online course, the Body Resilient Mum Project. Until next time, bye for now.